Hello, friends. Welcome to Communication Skills for Everyone. If you are watching this channel first time, please subscribe. In this video, let us learn the summary of the Tale Heart. Edgar Allan Poe's The Tale Heart is a short story told by an unnamed narrator who insists that they are not insane despite their decision to murder an old man simply because they can't stand the sight of his pale blue vulture eye. The narrator meticulously plans and executes the crime, carefully dismembering the body and hiding it under the floorboards. However, their guilt and paranoia soon overwhelm them, and they begin to hear a faint heartbeat that they believe is coming from the cops. The police arrive, summoned by a neighbor who has heard a scream, but the narrator initially convinces them that everything is in order. However, the increasingly insistent heartbeat drives the narrator to confess their crime and reveal the location of the body. The story is a classic example of psychological suspense, and Poe's use of an unreliable narrator creates a sense of unease and dread throughout. The narrator's attempts to convince the reader of their sanity only serve to highlight their madness, and their eventual confession is a chilling conclusion to the story. The story begins with the narrator insisting that they are not insane despite their decision to murder an old man. The narrator explains that they love the old man in every other way, but his eye, oh, his eye, the old man has a pale blue vulture eye that the narrator finds so repulsive that they are determined to kill him. The narrator carefully plans and executes the murder. They sneak into the old man's room every night for a week, shining a light on his face and watching him asleep. On the eighth night, the old man wakes up and cries out, and the narrator quickly smooths him to death. The narrator then disembowels the body and hides the pieces under the floorboards. The next day, the police arrive at the house, summoned by a neighbor who has heard a scream. The narrator initially convinces the police that everything is in order, but they soon begin to hear a faint heartbeat. The narrator believes that the heartbeat is coming from the corpse under the floorboards, and their guilt and paranoia overwhelmed them. The police became suspicious of the narrator's behavior, and they asked to search the house. The narrator agrees, hoping to convince the police that they are not insane. However, the increasingly insistent heartbeat drives the narrator to confess their crime and reveal the location of the body. The story ends with the narrator being arrested for murder. In this, there are three themes: insanity, the narrator's insistence that they are not insane despite their obvious madness is one of the central themes of the story. Arthur Poe uses the unreliable narrator technique to create a sense of unease and dread in the reader, as we are never sure whether or not the narrator is telling the truth. Second one, guilt. The narrator is consumed by guilt after murdering the old man. They begin to hear a heartbeat that they believe is coming from the corpse, and their paranoia eventually drives them to confess their crime. Third, the power of subconscious mind. The story suggests that our subconscious mind can be more powerful than we realize. The narrator's guilt and paranoia, which are both manifestations of their subconscious mind, ultimately lead to their downfall. The Telltale Heart is a classic example of psychological suspense, and it remains one of Poe's most popular and enduring works. If you like the story, subscribe, share with your friends. If you already read the story, please give your comments in the comment box. Thank you.